Hello, this is possibly the most impromptu video I've ever done. This is going to be a video about the iPhone 6 and my thoughts about it 6 months after owning it and concurrently 6 months after it has been released. Now, this is an opinionated video, so therefore there are going to be a lot of personal ties, so be wary. So firstly, let's discuss the hardware. Well, prospectively, I think that the hardware is very good. I really like the hardware. It's made of this nice aluminum, although I would have liked to see glass. I do like the glass and aluminum fusion, although it's not necessarily fusion, but the sort of two-tone backing. I don't mind the aluminum backing. It looks nice. I do like the gold color, although I somewhat regret getting the gold color, although that was the only one in stock on launch day, so I had to buy it regardless. I didn't necessarily have to, but if I wanted to get it on launch day, I really didn't have an option. But it still looks rather appealing, so therefore I do like the design. As well as the build quality, of course, it's top notch. I initially detested these lines, of course, the antenna lines, although now I don't necessarily mind them. In fact, I think it does indeed add to the design perspective that Apple was looking for, of course. A linear design. So additional hardware components, I am fond of the camera. I truly underestimated the iPhone's camera capabilities. I've never owned an iPhone before, so now I'm sort of, I've been exposed to the iPhone's camera capabilities, and this is a fantastic camera. Utterly fantastic. Although I don't take photos as often as one may want to, I do appreciate the iPhone's camera in terms of reliability and just sheer performance. So that is something of note. Initially I used Touch ID, now I don't. In fact, I do not keep my phone locked, regardless of my cynical nature. But nonetheless, it is a cool security implementation. Front-facing camera, of course, is alright. Now the software. I am jailbroken on iOS 8.1. The reason I'm not on iOS 8.2 is because there is not a jailbreak at the moment for iOS 8.2. With these two facts in mind, I suppose you can infer that I do rely on a jailbreak, and I do believe that having a jailbroken device is essential. It's crucial in terms of having ultimate control of your device. Relatively speaking to Android, because making a point otherwise is ineffectual, stock iOS is not as good as Android. Although iOS does have perks in terms of stability, Android has become more stable as time has progressed, and it's sort of negligible in the difference in terms of stability, although iOS will always trump Android in that regard. However, just the lack of customization in iOS, it makes Android just a better option personally, if iOS were stock in this scenario. However, jailbroken iOS will always trump Android, at least for the foreseeable future, because you do have the stability, you do have the iOS ecosystem, which is, it is both a blessing and also a curse, because the iOS ecosystem is such a fantastic, seamless place. You have the iOS App Store, which is a fantastic app store. It is the best mobile app store, bar none. My iTunes library, which consists of hundreds of albums, syncs seamlessly with my iPhone. I've just been engrossed in the iOS ecosystem for about 5 years now, and it's difficult to go back to Android because of this. I had an Nexus 4 last year, and it was very difficult to become engrossed in the Android ecosystem because I didn't use many Google services. There wasn't a sort of desktop equivalence to iTunes for Android. There just wasn't that seamless integration. iOS will always have that advantage. And in some circumstances it does indeed trap you, because I couldn't imagine going to Android because I'm so engrossed in the iOS ecosystem. I somewhat digress, but the fact that it is jailbroken, the fact that it does have most, if not all, the customization features that Android could potentially have, just makes it the best of both worlds. You get the customization that Android has over stock iOS, plus just the ecosystem and stability that iOS has. So I believe that jailbroken iOS is the supreme mobile operating system, and nothing can top that, at least for now. Now, many of you know that I've made several jabs at my iPhone 6, implying that I was going to get an Android device as my next device. Now, I've been praising the iPhone, so you may question, why would I want to go back? Why would I want to revert to Android? And this is more of a social and psychological, I guess. It's not an issue, but it's something that's more so social than something that's directly a component of this iPhone, at least from a physical standpoint. This is a bit materialistic, but it's because of the over-popularization of the iPhone. Virtually everybody at my school has an iPhone, whether it be the iPhone 4S, which I commend you if you still manage to have an iPhone 4S, to the iPhone 6. I got this on launch day, and temporarily I did enjoy being the only one in my grade having the iPhone 6. It was something, I liked it. Yes, you temporarily had this status symbol, but it becomes commonplace after 6 months. Let's say today's March 23rd, right? 6 months after the release, most people have the iPhone 6. So, hey, it's not special anymore. Now you just have a normal phone that anybody has. You just have this iPhone. Everybody has it, and that frustrates me. It's a bit infuriating. Now you might argue and say that this is a character flaw more than anything, but societal standards are implied universally. It's not something that is simply exclusive to me. Smartphones nowadays, they're considered status symbols. That's how it is. Whether you care about it or whether it matters to you, that's peripheral, but it's still something, it's still a social implication. It's something that's imposed on people. In 6 months, this will be obsolete. And everybody has an iPhone, so thereby everybody would know that you don't have the newest iPhone. Say when the iPhone 6S comes out in September, and I still have this, people would know, hey, you have the iPhone 6. The iPhone 6S was announced already. It was released already. Whereas, if I had the HTC One M7, a 2-year-old smartphone, nobody would know that I did not have the newest iteration of the HTC One, because nobody knows. Nobody knows. Everybody knows about the iPhone. This is such an over-popularized piece of technology. This is by far the most popular smartphone in the world, to its detriment. That is why I do not want to get the iPhone 6S, and that is why I am actually legitimately considering buying like perhaps the Galaxy 6 Edge or something of the sort in September. It costs just as much, and you wouldn't have to upgrade in a year. I could have that phone, the Galaxy S6 Edge, for 3 years, and nobody would know that I did not have the newest smartphone, with the exception to a few people, because arguably the Samsung Galaxy line is the second most popular smartphone line, but still, I could have that for 3 years. If I had this, 3 years later, this would be an obsolete piece of trash. That's how it is. Whether this is something psychological or social, yes, that it likely is to be determined. That is probably why. But it is an opinion, and this is an opinionated video, and this is not a review. So that is what I think. This is a fantastic phone on its own. And 3 years down the road, sure, this can perform well. So even though in terms of hardware it may be social proof, as a status symbol it will not be. Whereas an Android phone will be future proof in both regards. That is the video. Very impromptu, yes. A bit disorganized perhaps. That is what I wanted to say. So thank you guys for watching. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave your comments in the comments section. I'll be sure to read them, perhaps reply. Thank you guys for watching. That's the new thing. Catch you later. You've just been Evil Ninjas 99. Bad verb. Bye guys.